What's up guys, Alberto Big Boost here. In today's episode I'm going to show you guys how to reinforce or bulletproof your Bmw E36 rear end on a budget. In this table we have a bunch of parts, so you can tell we have a set of rear trailing arms ready for this upgrade. We have a set of axles, we have control arms, we have brake lines, we have brake calipers, we have axle stops, we have brake rotors, we have brake pads, we have rear trailing arm bushings, trailing arm bracket reinforcements, we have some bolts and axle spacers along with some brake line adapters. And did I forget brake calipers from Wilwood, as well as SimSagic Garage brake caliper adapters for a dual caliper kit installation, which is gonna be a breeze. You must be thinking that's a lot of parts, but all of these parts are also needed in order to reinforce the E36 major problem that I'm having, which is that I have a non-M3 rear end. So I have a rear end that's found in a 325 or 328i, which is the weaker differential, weaker axles, weaker trailing arms, etc. And also, well, I say smaller brakes. So starting with the parts, we're gonna show you the trailing arms that I'm gonna be using are found on an E46 330i car. So these ones have a bigger brake rotor, and most importantly, the brake hub size is also bigger. So the spline size right here where the axle goes is a lot bigger, so it's the same size as the M3 instead of the 328 or 325i. The brake rotor is a larger diameter, brake pads and caliper are also bigger, so you have a free big brake kit with this upgrade. We're gonna be using E36 M3 axles. These ones are aftermarket replacements. Of course, if it's a budget kit, I'm not gonna buy OEM M3 axles, which are probably $1,000 a piece. These ones were $140 from eBay. This is completely optional, you don't have to do this, but if you can, do it. This is a control arm kit from Nerptech, so I have my tubular upper and lower control arms. Since I'm running a true coilover setup, I can use these arms and they're gonna match my beautiful purple car. His new design also has this bent shape right here for the upper control arm, as well as the sway bar link, so if you want to retain your sway bar. Then the highlight from this is from the guys over at SimSagic Garage. They sent me the E46 330i brake caliper adapter along with some wilwood brake calipers, which is going to facilitate this installation because everything is bolt on. Therefore, the bag of ARP hardware that's supplied with the kit. Also from the guys over at SimSagic Garage, they sent me this set of axle spacers. So a lot of people have the problem when they lower their cars, the axles overextend and break. So they sent me these really nice adapters along with some extended axle bolts, so I can install that and make my axles last longer. Then for this swap, you're gonna need M3 differential output flanges. In this case, they're like 94/6 bolt size or bolt pattern, and these allow you to run the M3 axles. Nerptech supplied me with their offset R-tap bushings. These are the nice spherical bushings that I use on all BMWs. These are great. He also sent me the R-tap bracket well-done reinforcement plates along with the extended bolts for them. I got some Polymatrix A brake pads for the Wilwood calipers, and these are gonna be the most aggressive brake pad you can actually install on these calipers. For my normal brakes, I'm gonna be running EBC yellow stuff brake pads, so these are also very good at cold bite, and they're also like really good pads overall. And then last but not least, I'm running EBC USR brake rotors. These are the slotted version of the rotors. They also have another one that have the little dots on them. I don't like those. I like this one. I think they look a lot nicer. Plus they match the rotors that I'm running on the front of the car right now, as well as the ones that I was running on the back of my car previously. Now I have to install all these components in a couple hours or an hour or two, so let's see if we can get it done. I'm gonna make this quick. I want to show you guys real quick just how hard these things are to remove, but if you use a 3/8 size 60mm socket, wobbly extensions, that means it has a little ball nose on it, you should be able to get to them like so. Yes. coming out. Yeah, these are some like really weird bolts. You can see the head size is like really shallow, so it's really hard to get a socket on it. They can strip very easily, and trust me, you don't want to do that. And this one's off. Now we remove these two bolts, the two little 10mm bolts on each side over here. We need to cut a slit into this so we can actually slide it over the hub and remove the whole dust shield. A few hours into painting later, and I have brand new OEM looking black rear trolling arms that are completely stripped. I mean, not completely, because I still left the hubs. I even applied a little bit of paint into the hubs so it doesn't look all rusty. Oh my god, that's gonna scratch, or that's gonna leave a mark. But the focus over here is now on the rear trolling arm bushings, which we're gonna install right now. This is what the bushing looks like together, and this is what it looks like taken apart. It's two pieces. One of them holds the bearing in place, the other one holds it from the other side, but also screws go in and kind of like sandwich it together. So we're gonna take the thick part and we're gonna go into the thinner part of this. It's like cone shape, so if you go from this side, you can actually like put it in there, and then on this side you'll notice that it doesn't even go on. So we're gonna go from this side. So we're gonna take a rubber mallet to this. I'm probably gonna take this off because it's gonna fly out. So we're gonna hold this here and kind of like tap it into place. There we go. Step number 2 is gonna be to squish it with the vice grip, or with the vice. I think that's a good spot for him. Kind of like tilt it more like this. There we go. And we do this. Oh, and go further in. There. Kind of like there. And now we press. And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And we're in. There we go. That works. Now that we have one side in, we can insert the actual bushing bearing, or our spherical bearing somehow. There we go. And we can place this here and put the 4 bolts. Oh, we're not even straight. And we find a hole somehow. There we go. Now faster.
I hope I remember when I said faster to actually like speed up. And the funny thing is that you're gonna hear my in between all the ratcheting stuff.
Now we insert this thing, so I'm putting the thick one to the inside, so it actually makes it toe out. Because the whole point we're putting this is to reduce the incredible toe in problem that we have on E36s and E46s, and it goes like this. Now we're gonna put a zip tie here so it doesn't fall off. Pretty much like this, if I can find the hole somewhere. There we go. Nope, I'm still not in the hole. Oh, there it is. And now we're gonna weld the rear trolling arm brackets. So these are the really nice steel reinforcement brackets. You can MIG weld them around. Same thing on the other side, so you want to make sure you have this aligned. So I just put a bolt, tying it up. That way I know they're gonna be aligned with the hole. Same thing with the other one, but let's weld. It's time to install the Simply Garage dual caliper bracket. This fine gold piece right here, it's gonna enable us to install a wilwood e-brake caliper as a secondary caliper for our dual caliper setup on the E46 or E36. In this case, it's gonna be using an E46 330i bracket because this is a E46 330i rear trailing arm. Very important observation here, left hand. So this is gonna go on your US driver's side. Try to make the mistake of like putting it in the wrong way, as some friends of mine have done before, and figure out why it doesn't fit. You slide this over like this, boom. Then we have 4 bolts here. There's 3 types. One Allen screw which goes from the back on this little middle piece right here, and it goes torque to 60 foot-pounds. Then we have this really nice ARP M8 bolts that go torque to 30 foot-pounds. And then last but not least, we have this little ARP bolt that goes torque to 15 foot-pounds. Somehow we'll figure it out because it has to go like right here, and I don't know how to put a torque wrench there. And of course, to make sure everything stays in place, we're gonna be using some Permatex orange thread locker. So this is gonna hold everything in place like the red thread locker, but it's gonna make it as easy to remove as a blue thread locker. So we're gonna take our first bolt and we're gonna put a drop of this orange thread locker on the tip. Just like this, that's all you need. And we're gonna drive it down here like this. Do the same thing with the other bolt. Put everything by hand, make sure it lines up before you tighten anything. Little guy also gets some too. Oh my god, I put too much. Well, that's fine. Make sure it lines up before you tighten anything. Great. We gotta flip this around. Ugh. And we gotta put that big Allen bolt right here where your e-brake cable will normally come out from. After we put some thread locker, we drive this guy in there. So you remember when I was talking about putting them backwards? I just did that. As you can tell, this is completely backwards. It goes like this. Silly me. Now that I have this on the right way, let me see if I can actually torque this real quick. So we set the torque wrench to 30 foot-pounds and we torque. And we torque some more and more. Oh, wait, there we go. And let me make sure the other side is tight too. Oh. Hey, can you hold the other side so I can actually tighten it? $30. Then on this one we put 30. There. Now we flip it around and we're gonna torque this back one here to 60 foot-pounds. Oh, and let's see if we can get 60 out of this one. There we go. After a bunch of stuff happened here, we are able to torque this to 15 foot-pounds. And ready? There you go. So I'll show you guys my contraption. So first we put this, then we put this through the lug hole right here, and we have that. Then we have this, and then we have this. So it goes like this. Now we can finally install our brake rotor. So this one goes here like this. And there. This little guy right here is gonna hold it in place. That's it. Nothing else. If that bolt fails, we're dead. Bearing seems pretty good. Now I'm gonna install the factory brake caliper first, just to make sure everything is straight, and get this out of the way too. These are held by 16mm bolts, so it's a 16mm socket. That's what I meant, the socket, not the diameter of the bolt, just the diameter of the head. Before we install the wilwood brake caliper, I want to show you guys something here with the stock caliper bracket. You can see everything lines up perfectly. It's even separation from here to here, so the disc is centered in the caliper bracket. So we want to make sure we do the same with the wilwood caliper. Sometimes we need to use shims or washers to make sure we get the offset right, so the caliper is exactly in the center, so one pad doesn't push further than the other. And now we get to install this beautiful wilwood brake caliper. It's a nice giant 4-piston brake caliper for our e-brake. You guys already know, it's literally flick of the wrist and lock those rear tires. So this is gonna go mounted pretty much right here, and it's gonna look just like this. The bolts for the wilwood brake calipers are gonna be 15 millimeters. So we're gonna apply some orange thread locker to these, and we're gonna position the brake caliper like this. Slide the bolt through. Then do the same thing with the other bolt. And then we're gonna torque these to 40 foot-pounds of torque. Yeah, for some reason this hole was a little smaller than this hole, so I have to like drill it ever so slightly so the bolt can actually go in all the way through. Still a little tight, but that's a good fit. Now we torque these guys to 40 foot-pounds of torque. Done. And then a little done. Remove this bolt. Then slide this back. Don't pinch your finger. Done. Now we're gonna grab our Polymetrics A brake pads. Throw away the box. Take them out of this plastic. And here we have the best brake pads my car is ever gonna have. Then we're gonna take some Permatex Ceramic Extreme Brake Parts lubricant. And we're gonna go. And we're gonna go. And come on, get in there. Really? We're having some technical difficulties. We don't have studs holding the brake rotor in place yet, so we only have that little guide pin. So I put the guide pin towards the rotor, and I was able to slide the brake caliper in. Brake pad in. Now we loop this. There, and then we locate the hole on the brake pad too. We slide this like this somehow. There. Now we do the same thing with the other side. And don't pinch your fingers. And we take this bolt and this wrench. This is a 3/16, and we put this little lock bolt back in. Now we're gonna install the fitting on the brake caliper. We remove this little sticker that says fluid 1/8 NPT fitting for the inlet. Take that off. We have our fitting right here. And we're gonna apply some Permatex thread sealant with PTFE. Just a little nib around the threads. A little, not a lot, a little. And there. That should be good. Oh, take the excess off. Perfect. Now we slide this in here. Thread it by hand first. And now I'm gonna drive it in place. I need this to pretty much face down like this. Done. Now it's time to install the stock brake caliper. We have some EBC yellow brake pads. Permatex Ceramic Extreme Brake Lubricant, and sliders. We take the rear brake pad, lube it up, insert in caliper. Tick. Take slider, lube it up. Test fit it in slider. Make sure it's smooth. Take it back out again. Lubricate again. Reinsert into slider. Aha, a lot better. Repeat the same process with the other one. Now that we have that done, we lubricate the sliders on the brake caliper bracket. Then we put a little bit on the brake pads. And here too. Slide caliper into brake guide or caliper guide. Done. Caliper bracket. Put a little bit on this one too. Slide caliper into caliper bracket. And then locate the bolt holes so you can bolt everything down. Then you're gonna use a number 7 Allen socket and tighten the bolts. Replace the dust covers. Done. Wait, we're not done. Actually, don't forget about this. This will pinch your hands, so we're gonna put it like this, and then we flex it like that, and then grab a screwdriver and kind of like do some of this. There. Now we gotta install the R-tap brackets. So we take this off. Notice that we have the reinforcement welded on this side too. Don't mind the welds, I just wanted them to stay in place and not wiggle, not made a structural welding out of this. So it's gonna go just like this, without pinching your fingers. Oh, there we go. Done. I'm not gonna film the whole removal process. If you want to see that process, I have it on a video already from when I first installed my rear suspension system with a true coilover setup, on the link below or up here. 5,000 hours later, and we have the differential back in, and we have the new NerdTech arms installed partially. Brake calipers for the regular brakes on, and then I want to show you guys something. Check this out. The splines on my axles, or the splines on my differential output flanges are a little bent. Look at this. They're twisting from all the torque that this car is making. Good thing we're replacing them with the M3 ones, and look at the splines on this one. They're perfectly straight. And the flange is a lot bigger. Hopefully these flanges will last for a little bit at least. Then to install them, pretty much go like this. And la la la, la la la, and press and not going in. Like, gotta hit it with a mallet. Little tick. There. I just installed a NerdTech lower control arm, upper control arm. I have pretty much everything bolted on here except the upper control arm bolt is not tight yet. Same thing on the other side. I don't know yet what I'm gonna do with the brake lines, because I have a two-piece brake line on my E36, but the E46 330i swing arm, trailing arm is a single line brake style. So I gotta see how can I somehow bolt that up after I install the axles, because I don't know if I'm gonna have interference with the brake line here. This is how I routed the brake lines for the wilwood brake calipers, same way I had on my original dual caliper setup. So it just has a 90 here and a 90 there, and it fits perfect. So you want to have it pointing down, then over away from the caliper. And it goes over there. Same thing. This one points down, goes away from the caliper, over this way, comes back around here. Then I have a little firewall thingy right here that goes inside the car for the hydro. All this work has been done just so we can fit these axles into the car. So these are E36 M3 axles. No, they are not OEM. They're aftermarket replacement ones. But we're gonna use this and see how they work. Now, one thing is that I don't know what size this nut is, but it's like really big. So we're not using that. I'm gonna use some OEM axle nuts. That's a 36 millimeter 12-point socket, and this is bigger than that, so I don't know what size that is. Before installing the axle, I like to put the axle bolts on. It's a lot easier to put them on now than it wasn't in the car. We are gonna be using some axle spacers, so those are gonna go in between these bolts and the differential. And then also I want to put some Permatex copper anti-seize lubricant on the splines. That way they don't seize in the hub, and then it becomes impossible to replace in case of an axle breakage. Alright, let's go ahead and shove this axle in and see if it fits. That's in on the hub. Now we gotta put it in on the differential side. But first we gotta install the spacer ring. I almost forgot about that. I'm gonna put this on the axle itself, held up by the actual bolts. Now we can slide everything in together. That's one piece. Rotate this here. Get some of the axle bolts on by hand. Oh, it should be good, yeah. There. So now we have our axle spacer in here. So you can see this is golden line between the output flange and the axle. Everything else here is all beefed up. Look at this, race car. 8:30 in the morning, and we're finally done. Check out how cool the Neptune arm looks with the stickers. I put some silver stickers on there. It looks really good. Everything's tightening down. Axle bolts are tightening down. We have the axle nut tight and the little thingy pinched there. These are the spacers are torqued to 80 foot-pounds of torque. Brakes are bled. Everything works fine. There's no leaks. And we're ready to just put the wheels back on and get out of here. Alright guys, 9:30 in the morning, we're done. I already put the cars back inside the shop, so we're out of here. I gotta get some sleep so I can come back today and get some more stuff done on the S14. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe for more awesome content, and stay tuned for more awesome videos with Big Boost. Big Boost out.